In the world of artificial intelligence, a lot of people are wondering what's going to be happening in the future. And actually, the answer to that is nobody really knows. Nobody knows what's going to happen next in this world, but it is getting smarter. And I think that's something we can all count on. And not to get on the dystopian end of it or the positive, exciting end of it, but I do believe this is something that nobody's ever seen before. I believe that. It's a higher level of intelligence, and a lot of people are going to be talking about all sorts of things pertaining to their opinion. This is another video just like this. But instead of my opinion, I think I'm not going to get too far into the weeds on this, but what I will do is talk to you from an entrepreneurial standpoint or a business owner type standpoint, if that's where you are. And the question you might be wanting to ask, if you haven't already, is where can AI help me in my business? What are the things I need to be looking at? What problems can it solve for me? Just a very simple point. Had a gentleman come to us last week. He happened to be with a plumbing outfit, and I put together, he has 5 trucks, basically 7 employees, and I was able to put together a strategy for him to actually expand his particular breadth as far as business goes, to be able to add more employees eventually. But that's going to all start with finding out where he was positioned. So looking at his particular business, he does not have any kind of way where a client, if they happen to call in, happens to be after hours. The best he has is them leaving a message on their voicemail system. Now, they do have a VoIP, a voice over internet phone system, so they're able to get that call to come in, and then the message is left. There is an emergency resource. He must pay almost $280 a month for that particular resource, if memory serves, but it's definitely over $250. And maybe it's closer to $3. But anyway, it's very expensive. And that's an emergency contact system in the old automated ways where somebody would call in and say, oh my gosh, I have a broken pipe. I really need you here properly. And then the system itself would generate an actual person would then call his private cell phone and tell him, hey, this is what we need, or whoever it's going to be delegated to when it's after hours. And he has one of those 5 particular plumbers that work with him. Each one gets a time in the bucket to be able to fulfill that. That's great, but that's the place where AI automation could save him at least that $300, that $250 bill. Plus, when he misses a call, if it's not an emergency type and somebody's just inquiring about his service, then once he misses that call, that's another pain point where they're going to be moving on to maybe the next plumber that happens to have a better wherewithal online, where they're able to see that they're able to communicate with them right away through some kind of an AI voice or AI chat system, get those questions answered. And then, of course, continually follow up until they want a book appointment or until they decide that they're not going to need the service after all, whatever it may be, but at least nothing's dropped. So that particular person feels taken care of. Now, every system that we build, and I was discussing this with him, a big concern that he had as well, I don't want it to sound fake. I don't want to ruin my reputation. Number one, it sounds pretty close to being real. Number two, we don't lie about what they're talking to. But you, as a business owner, have the wherewithal to be able to answer that contact at 2 a.m. in the morning, get answers to their questions provided to them, and thereby that creates a connection. And there's nobody else that's going to have a human being answering the phone at that time in the morning anyway, at least for the most part. So it understands that's what the system's about. It's able to answer the questions as if you would, because that's how we set it up. We just don't, shotgun approach it and hope whatever hits sticks. We actually get in there and I build this out so you as a business owner can see, okay, this is answering these questions as if I would. If in the lending world, for example, just to kind of give you a horrible comparison, in the lending world, there's certain things a lender can't answer. They have to run credit. They have to provide other things. If the bot starts to answer questions that a lender is not allowed to answer, who's culpable for that? Well, of course, the lender that employs the bot, i.e., you move that into the plumbing world. Maybe there's certain things, plumbers themselves, it might not be some kind of a legal issue created like in the lending world, but maybe there's certain things they wouldn't want to answer. Maybe there's certain things that require more than just best guess scenario. Maybe they need more information. And of course, the bot can be programmed and put together in that way that obtains all the information pertaining to a problem and potentially answering it. But it's able to do that only by the desire of that particular business owner, because when I onboard a client that wants to get the AI implementation in their business, then we get all those questions answered. So at the end of the day, you have nothing but positive and good results. The other thing that I noticed when I was looking at his business, because I do an audit for everybody, his reputation management, it's not that it's bad, it's just that it doesn't really exist. He's not even on Google. So that's that first place that we need to get a business. We need to get that local business page set up and optimized for them. And then we can work on a reputation management strategy using artificial intelligence that gets people that you worked with in the past that had good experiences. The bad ones, they're going to take care of themselves, but we want the good ones that are able to provide reviews about that plumbing company. So we talked to him about that. I also need to know what his database looks like. Does he have a database? Is it all on napkins and pieces of paper and one of those little plungers where they stick the paper on, where they have that information contained, or is it in some kind of a database? Then how am I going to get that information extracted? Because in the system itself, it's going to have an entire contact management system or a client relationship manager system where it's going to basically have all of his contacts, and then we're going to have to decide who they are. If it's already been categorized, these are the people that we worked with. These are the people that called in and left a message, but we never were able to contact or didn't bother to contact again, which was a lot of this guy's case. And then the other particular clients in there, if we have them categorized, then the system itself is able to develop a nurturing sequence that's going to be best to bring those people back, and at least without being offensive, make them aware that you actually care, whatever business you happen to be in, reaching out to them in various ways, either email, SMS messaging, maybe via the social connections on the different social platforms. All of these things are the ways that businesses today are able to basically get a workflow put together so it's complete automation until that point where it requires one of the people that work for this particular plumber or the plumber himself to go out and start, plumbing directly right at the house. Before that, though, getting all that stuff put into place, that's really where this automation sequence takes effect and really does pay off for businesses. So the first part of that is, do you have something like that in place? Reputation's key. And in fact, a lot of the businesses out there, they might have their Google information put out. They might actually have a Google My Local Business put together, and that's great. But also something else that your advisor, if you don't have one, call me, but they should be explaining to you that Bing, the Microsoft side of the search world out there, who is in agreement with OpenAI, that system also has a local places type platform that you as a business owner should be in there. And if you're not, you haven't taken care of that, you need to get that hooked up, because that's where ChatGPT, OpenAI's large language model, their artificial intelligence, that's where it's going to be extracting its data from. It's not going to be pulling it from Google. Google is the one that owns Gemini. There's typically an AI overlay within the browser when you're asking for a particular question. In addition, the reason why that's relevant for you and your business, and you need to start paying attention to these things, or at least hiring somebody to do that for you, is the fact that when people are searching, a lot of people aren't even going to google.com anymore to do a search. And when they do, there's an AI overlay. You'll see their Gemini product typically providing results to those that inquiry. But besides that, people aren't even going there as much as they used to. They're using ChatGPT, they're using Grok, they're using these other large language models or AI to do that basic search. And if you're to appear there, if you're not, you have to do a particular type of posting, a particular type of content management, a particular way to put things together. Also, don't get caught up in the world that you need X amount of followers to really have a successful business. Even if you have one, that's plenty, because the way the AI systems work now, it's not just sending when you do a YouTube short or you do one of the videos that we talked to you about that are going to enhance your business. Once you do something like that and you publish it, even if you only have one follower and it's your mom, that's cool, because mom's going to see it, yes, but it's going to be more interest-based. If somebody starts to look in the plumbing world and is wondering how they fix a particular problem they have on a pipe, then you're going to show up because it's interest-based. So you do a few of these that are really good, that are nice videos, that are you're actually helping educate people. And that's the world too, because the AI systems, they're pulling off Q&A. They're pulling off that type of content that's answering questions, FAQs, a conversational type approach. That's what they're looking for. When you have that video and you might have some other cat there with you asking, what is this about? How does this work? How do I fix this? And then you're answering the question. You take that, extract the audio from it. You make a podcast from it. You make a non-video type of a release. Plus you have the video one. There's two types of content. Then you pull that content out. You strip out the audio. You have that converted to text. And now you have something else to be able to publish. Then you use AI to basically wrap all of that into the proper way it should be presented. SEO, which is search engine optimization, AEO, which is answer engine optimization, AIEO, which is very similar to AEO. In fact, that's just probably more than likely another word for it. I say that because some people use it, and everything I can see out there, the way they talk about it, it really is providing that best answer. So you have that. And then finally, the GEO, which is where that Bing places ad and the Google places ad are going to be super important for your business. So you line all that up. And then when people are asking to find me a plumber in Santa Clarita on OpenAI's ChatGPT, there you are. And that's the way you do it for every other type of business out there. But you need the automations, you need the marketing, you need to first have an audit done of where your business happens to be. You want to do that? I have it in the browser, Santa Clarita, artificialintelligence.com. Click on the audit button at the top, and I will reach out to you. We'll walk through everything, and we'll see what best you can do. There might be some strategies you can do on your own that cost almost nothing. And then if you want to come with me, I will help you through that whole process, and then we'll discuss how that works and what that cost looks like. But at the end of the day, that return on investment is going to be worth it. You'll see that you start to get more placement, start to get more clicks. And if you don't see all of the things that I promised, then we just cancel. We're done. And then if you need a refund, we'll give you a refund. I haven't had that happen yet, and I don't foresee it happening either, because this isn't smoke and mirror sales. This is exactly how the different search engines out there are starting to work, as now they're all integrated with artificial intelligence. This is also how business works, where they don't miss a call, they don't miss a message, everybody gets responded to, and everybody gets taken care of. And then after they get taken care of, or up until the point that they get taken care of, both situations, then they get nurtured. They get contacted and followed up between now and the end of time. It just continues to go, or at least as long as you have the business, you're the owner operator. And then maybe we can have another strategy where you package that when you're ready to do the retirement thing. If that's your flavor, then we package that business and sell it to somebody that wants to buy it. And it's all set up. All they have to do is just turn on the lights, and they get the phone number, you give it to them. They get all the context, they get the workflows, they get everything. It keeps me in business. And now you're able to sell your business at whatever deal you have them, but they already have all the automations and marketing built in and done. The nice thing about it is it continues to evolve and adapt. Right now, if you look at the large language models, there's not a lot of pay-per-play action. There's not a pay-per-click arm of it. The results you get are typically without ads. Now, if you look in the URL, whenever you're running something, you click on it, it's going to carry a moniker, some kind of identifier as to where this lead came from. So if you're running a search in ChatGPT, like you might have in the past on Google, it's going to give you a particular URL. You click on the URL, instead of going to Santa Clarita artificialintelligence.com, it might say Santa Clarita artificialintelligence.com / a whole bunch of stuff. And maybe you might see ChatGPT in there. You might not. But that's going to give it validity as to where that particular lead came from. In the future, they'll be able to now say, well, somebody searched for artificial intelligence resources or an artificial intelligence growth architect in Santa Clarita, California, and this is how many times they did it. This was the result we provided. If you want to be placed in there, then here's the money it's going to cost you. And now you can be in that particular search result when people are asking for that kind of information on ChatGPT. There's a lot. This is going to continue to go, and the people that are paying attention are the ones you want to work with in that particular space. All right, I'm Connor with Honor. I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching, and I'll be 10-8 until that time. That's some cop stuff. All right, when you're ready, reach out. I'll be here, Santa Clarita artificialintelligence.com. Be well. Thanks for watching.